Hi there, I'm Tommy Larkin. If we take into consideration geometric shapes, then the basic building block of all other shapes in our 3D world is the triangle. So a key posture in our personal practice needs to include Utthita Trikonasana, i.e. triangle pose. Welcome back and thank you for joining me. Today we look at Utthita Trikonasana, which we call triangle pose. In yoga, the pose name has a very important role in the energetic actions and benefits of the posture. So as you may have noticed in previous tweaks, I do my best to give you some in-depth information so your mind and body can have a greater understanding as we integrate the tweaks actions. So with triangle pose, Utthita means extended or lengthened or to stretch. Trikonasana means triangle, but actually made up of two words, trini, which means three, and kona, meaning angle or corner. The last in the asana meaning pose or posture. So Utthita Trikonasana is traditionally translated as extended three-angle pose, which we call triangle pose. One of the things I like about yoga is the depth of nuances within each posture. When you get deeper into the essence of a pose, you start to find greater understanding of the effects and benefits within the physical positions in which the body is placed. This brings in a fuller aspect, and as we gain more ability in a pose, which greatly increases the beneficial effects to our mental and emotional state, in addition to the strength, flexibility, and range of motion we achieve physically. Along with about 5 other poses, you'll routinely find Utthita Trikonasana showing up in my classes and work with private clients. One of the reasons is I love it so much is it requires you to move in several different directions at the same time in a static position. Now, you can say that pretty much about any yoga pose, plus many Qigong or Tai Chi movements can do much the same thing. Shoot, even some weightlifting activities can be included as well. However, I've found that there is a deeper continual mental engagement requirement needed in yoga that in some of these other exercise forms don't really include. My experience indicates that in this case, triangle teaches the foundational level of mental connectedness needed to integrate and stabilize the dynamic postural push, pull, and twist actions generated in the pose. In other words, the muscles need the mind to continually refocus and pay attention to each individual part without losing the concept of the whole postural form. But enough of this psychological mumbo jumbo. Let's look at triangle. The form of the pose creates 3 primary triangles within the overall position of the body. Here's a picture of Utthita Trikonasana with those triangles superimposed. The one created with the legs, there's one created with the arms and torso, and one as the whole shape of the pose. Now, while we're looking at this picture, let's also take note of my sideways, which are equally long. This is more important than trying to reach the floor with your hand. And we'll get into that when we get to the pose itself. Beyond these triangles, though, then the forms and the posture, the wide leg position creates a skewed tilt in the hips. This position places the front leg in an anatomical position to the hips and generates a natural internal rotation in the back leg. The classic external rotation most students think they must do in the back leg is actually incorrect. The amount of external rotation needed is dictated by the proper grounding of the back foot and the position of the front part of the hip. It's important too to understand here pulling the hips open and attempting to stack them equally between the hips and legs creates a tension between the legs and lower back, which compresses the 2 ilium into the sacrum. This compression overly opens the front of the hips and places direct strain on the lower back. It can also create adverse pressure in the hip joint from the head of the femur bone, especially on the back leg side. When I've adjusted students who have learned this way, they are shocked how good triangle feels and how much deeper the pose goes when correct alignment is created in the body. Now, an important note here is to understand the hips and legs are not actually attached. The ball and socket joint is connected, but beyond your natural range of motion, the leg is free to move around in the hip socket. As a result, we must teach the mind we can rotate or move the leg without the need to move the hip itself. When our mind and body come together on this, we can actually progress deeper into postures or generate better extensibility in our muscles. Once our legs are set and the hips are in the correct alignment to the legs, we seek to rotate the chest open while maintaining a parallel quality in our sideways. The last element is to make sure the feet, hips, and torso are all in line vertically with each other. This means we are not leaning the chest to one side and sticking the butt out to the other. So let's do the pose. So stand in the middle of your mat facing the long side. Stretching the arms out wide, step the feet about 3 to 3.5 feet apart so your ankles are lined up under your hands. Turn the right foot out 90 degrees. And now turn the left foot slightly to the right, about 1 inch at the toes. Inhale, feel the inner legs move towards the feet. And on the exhale, draw the outer legs back towards the hips and rotate the torso towards the right foot. Inhale. And as you exhale, fold forward over the right leg without rounding the back. Now inhale. Rotate the left shoulder open from the right lower ribs without turning the hips. And as you exhale, place the right hand on the floor or leg and stretch the left arm towards the ceiling. As we hold the pose for a few breaths, let's review 4 items. First, the sideways should be long and parallel to each other. So work on lengthening the right side and drawing the left lower side ribs towards the hips. Second, feel the left side of the hip rotating towards the right foot as you twist the left shoulder away from the floor. Third, pull the navel to the spine and contract the shoulder blades towards each other. Now feel the head and the tailbone stretching away from each other. That was the 4th one. One last note. Here I am demonstrating a common occurrence I see. The chest is leaning towards the left side of the mat and the butt is sticking out. Generally, this is caused by hinging too deeply and attempting to reach the floor with the hand. To help correct this, slide your hand up your leg until you feel the chest line up over the right leg. You should also feel the hips draw back towards the left side of your mat. Now on the next inhale, lift the torso back up to standing, and exhale, rotate the feet so they are parallel to each other. Now let's do the left side. With the arms still extended, rotate the left foot out 90 degrees and turn the right foot slightly to the left. Again, that's about 1 inch at the toes. Inhale, feel the inner legs move towards the feet. And on the exhale, draw the outer legs towards the hips and rotate the torso towards the left foot. Inhale here. And now exhale, fold forward over the left leg without rounding the back. Inhale, rotate the right shoulder open from the lower left ribs without turning the hips. And then exhale, place the left hand on the floor or leg and stretch the right arm towards the ceiling. As we hold the pose for a few breaths, let's review the 4 items again. The first one is the sideways should be long and parallel to each other. So work on lengthening the left side and drawing the right lower ribs towards the hips. The second one is feel the right side of the hips rotating towards the left foot as you twist the right shoulder away from the floor. 3, pull the navel to the spine and contract the shoulder blades towards each other. And that helps you get to number 4, which is feel the head and the tailbone stretching away from each other. On the next inhale, lift the torso back up to standing, and exhale, rotate the feet so they are parallel and step them together. So this is Utthita Trikonasana. I think you can see and feel how it helps tone the muscles of the legs, as well as aid in removing stiffness that you might find in the legs and hips. The pose also is beneficial to correcting minor deformities and developing the legs more evenly. Triangle also builds stronger ankles and helps develop the chest. Further, it can help relieve backaches and neck sprains. So there you go. I hope you gained great benefit from today's work. If you have any questions about this tweak or any previous one, let me know. Put your question in the comments of the specific tweak and I'll get back to you. Also, if you like today's tweak, I'd appreciate you hitting that like button below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Plus, check out the website and follow us on social media for other inspiration and great ways to increase your optimal vitality. You'll find those links in the description below. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and until next time, have an amazing week and be excellent to each other.